Welcome to Kevin at 7, where we help you find your superpowers. You can master getting yes without the BS. You want to make today powerful, you seize it. Today we're going to talk about the ice cube effect. What is the ice cube effect? The ice cube effect is the way most of you deal with things when you are uncomfortable. And it is that we freeze. And you know, I hear in the people talk about this being especially millennials being the snowflake generation. I see that. I agree with that. The political correctness and then you offended me and the victimhood and all of that is, to me, very disturbing as a culture. You can go back and watch my live stream from Kevin at 7 from yesterday, where I talk about, we're actually going to put it as a YouTube video. It's going to be a little short YouTube video that's going to offend a lot of people. That if you want to change the world, go do something big, do something that matters, do something significant, be very successful at it, make a lot of money, and then change the world doing that. You can change millions of lives, but you don't change the world by protesting. You don't change the world by kneeling. There's never been anybody change the world by kneeling. Change the world by fighting, by doing something, and protesting and holding up placards and yelling is not fighting. Talking about doing something that actually matters. You do something that matters, you achieve something, and now you got credibility and you got resources, you got abundance, so you can change things. So while I am concerned about what we call a snowflake generation, I also believe we are very much a ice cube generation. And here's what is an ice cube? Here's what an ice cube is. An ice cube is paralyzed. An ice cube is frozen, and it is the natural response, the first response. It is the first fear response. There's freeze, fight, or flight, right? Freeze, fight, or flight. And the first, most instinctive one is to freeze. And whenever we get uncomfortable, whenever we're afraid, we freeze. We turn into an ice cube. And then, what else does an ice cube do? An ice cube melts under pressure. Put some heat on it, ice cube just melts away. And that describes so many of us. That describes my life. That describes most of my life. I was an ice cube. I was scared of everything, because when I was a little kid and I was bullied, I couldn't fight back. My parents told me not to fight back. They said, you just turn the other cheek and they'll leave you alone. They don't leave you alone. But worse than the fact that bullies don't leave you alone is the fact that you learn to go through life not standing up for yourself. You learn to go through life believing you're not worth fighting for. You go through your life believing that you got to hide out because when there's conflict or confrontation, you're powerless. And that was my belief. And so what happens, I became, as I refer to it, becoming a chicken. I actually had one of my coaching members, who I love dearly, get on my back about criticizing myself for being a chicken. And they're like, you're too hard on yourself. No, I'm speaking the truth. Okay, I appreciate it, I respect it, but the truth is that I was raised to be a chicken. I was raised to be afraid of everything, to run away. I was raised to be a victim. And we never called it that. I never thought of it that way. I never treated myself that. And I certainly didn't believe that being a victim made me entitled to everybody should take care of me and protect me because I'm a victim. It was horrible. Being a victim was horrible. But the way out of it is to stand up and become something, do something. And I realized I'm an ice cube. This is self-discovery. My friends, one of the greatest journeys that you can do in your life is self-discovery. Figure out what is it that's stopping you from getting what you want, everything you want in your life. Because if you're having everything you want in your life, if you're achieving the success, if you're achieving the dreams that you have, and every dream is coming true, you would not be watching this. You wouldn't be watching it. You wouldn't need me. Okay, you're here because you're like me. And I'm here because I've gone through all the crap and all the pain, and I have broken out of it. And I'm not saying I'm totally over it or free or perfect or anything like that, but here is a scarred, messed up dude that has been crushed, knocked down, spun around, soaked, collapsed, failed, and keeps coming back and learns and grows and is committed to greatness because I believe it's my birthright. I believe it's your birthright. You know why we look forward to weekends? Because we're so programmed into job mentality that we think Monday to Friday and weekends off. See, when you take control of your life and you stop waiting for somebody else to tell you what to do, then everything changes. I look at weekends because we have a team. We take weekends off, so it's a little bit different. But I can, you know, if I want to take off an afternoon, I can take off an afternoon. I don't. I'm more likely to work on a weekend than I am take off now. I believe in having a life, so we have a life, but we're also working our rear end off. Why? Because we're building something that matters. That's what we're doing. We're building something that matters. We're taught to play it safe, and we're taught like, just you stay safe and just stand still. Maybe nobody will notice you. And so what happens? Whenever you face your fears, so what is your fears? Fear of you're not good enough. Self-doubt turns you into an ice cube. Anytime you get uncomfortable, turn into an ice cube. And we freeze. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of success. Fear of somebody not liking you, fear of being judged. All these, my friends, are fears that I lived under the spell of for years. And I was frozen like an ice cube in fear. Now, Bruce Lee, what did Bruce Lee say about the elephant? He said, be water, my friend. Be water. And he says, now water, you put it in a cup, it becomes the cup. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Water can flow or it can crash. You see, water is adaptable. Water is fluid. And when he says water, put it in a cup, it becomes a cup, he's not saying it actually becomes the cup, but it can adapt to the situation. We're not talking about being where you blend into everybody else. I'm not talking about losing your... Water never loses its distinctiveness, right? It's always water. So our culture has programmed us to play it safe, to stay motionless and don't get noticed, because you get noticed, there's pressure and you melt under pressure. And I'm going to tell you, my friend, because most of you are real estate agents, if you're going to be a successful real estate agent, you better learn how to get great under pressure. What happens when you put water under pressure? It doesn't melt. See, water is fluid and water gets more powerful. It turns into steam, and steam can move mountains. So we need to get rid of that ice cube. You got to turn it into steam, my friends. You got to turn it into something powerful, and so that you can change your life, you can change your family's life, and you can change the world. You can serve other people. You can make an impact for sellers. Understand, guys, when you approach real estate right, you change buyers and sellers' lives. That's what you do. That's your job. That's your responsibility. You are an agent. An agent is someone who acts on behalf of another one. An agent is not somebody who sells houses to make a commission. An agent is someone who represents someone else's best interest. That is your responsibility. That is your job. And when you embrace that, it's so powerful. But when you're an ice cube and you're frozen in fear and you're afraid that you're going to upset them, or you're afraid what they're going to say, or you're afraid they might reject you, or you're afraid you might fail at selling their house or helping them find the right house, then those are things that you have to get over. Melt the ice cube. Move. You got to get yourself into movement so that you do not freeze up. Okay? Move yourself, move your butt, take action, do something. Call those people, talk to those people, go knock on that door. Put yourself out there, and you may get smacked around. You're gonna get smacked around. You're gonna fail. You're gonna have things happen that are unpleasant. But guys, it only is unpleasant for a second. I can remember the first time, I've been in one physical fight in my life, one fist fight in my entire life. It was with Raul Lara in Spur, Texas. And I didn't want to fight him because I was taught not to fight. So I did everything I could. I avoided him for days. And then finally, after basketball practice one day, he waited for me outside the locker room. He followed me to my car and he blocked my car. He wouldn't let me get in my car. And he just kept blocking me. And I'm finally was like, okay, there's no choice. You got to fight. If I'm going to go home, I'm just going to stand here all day. And my friend, Johnny Flick, who was actually a mutual friend of both of us, friends with Raw, friends with me, he was like, Raw, leave him alone. Let him go home. And then he's telling me, we just stand up to him, right? And so finally we went at it, and we just went into it. And I just remember the first thing that happened is he grabbed me in the headlock and grabbed my hair. And I was like, ow, it hurt like crazy. And then we just went into it. And after that first 2 seconds, it didn't hurt anymore. I just remember there was pain for a moment, and then after that we were just fighting, and we went to the ground. We were just going at it, and I'm bald today because he pulled my hair out, I think. But it was just like, everything about it was surreal, that once you just broke through that first moment and that first little bit of pain, and then there was no more pain. And that's the way it is when you face your fears. Stop being an ice cube. Stop getting paralyzed by your fears, because when that happens and pressure comes, you're melting.